Okay, so moving on to agenda item number 7. Petition. Mr. Fred Jackson has petitioned the commission to reevaluate and change the wording of NAC 503.140 to 504.4595. The wording causes undue financial burden on the wholesaler and the retail markets in Nevada of harvested crayfish. The commission may deny the petition or accept the petition and initiate rulemaking. So is Mr. Jackson here? You want to come up and...
Chairman McBeth, Commissioners, this is Jim Kroll. He's the owner of Sierra Gold Seafood. He's going to speak on behalf of the retail side of the market. Seems we went through this last year with the crayfish issue up at the lake, and we've got through that. There's some loose ends that need to be tied up. This is all a new process for myself, Director Mayor, and Dow, and everything else. So there's a couple things I'd like to discuss with you that pertain to the crayfish law of unprotected species. It seems that to possess this thing, to transport this, to fish for it, and to do everything that we need to do, there's a permit process for everybody involved, not just myself as a commercial invasive species harvester, but as the wholesale end and the retail end. Now, everybody thinks that the casinos can absorb $500 just because of the mass people that they can bring into their casino, but we're dealing with a lot of smaller restaurants that are just now barely getting by, and I don't think they can absorb the $500 fee. And there was concerns brought up in the past. Letters were brought to Tim Tisdale, concerns from the executive chefs from the region right here in the Reno Basin. I just think the fee is pretty exorbitant, even on my end. If I'm not up there on the boat during the operations of the program, then my employees cannot fish either. I have to be there 24/7. So that means for every person on board that boat, doesn't count just the deckhand, the guy, there has to be somebody permitted on that boat at all times, or permitted to transport, permitted to pick up, permitted to sell. So it's quite a huge fee, and I don't mind absorbing that. I think I can get it back after a while. But for our market here, I don't think that the smaller establishments or even the casinos are willing to absorb something that they can bring in from Louisiana for nothing. And we've got a great deal going on up here at the lake and in this region. So I just think if you guys should reconsider and reevaluate either the permit fee or the process on which we're doing this, and who can actually possess a permit and who doesn't have to. The situation came up in Yerington. This is a good situation, just happened April 28th. The girls softball threw a fundraiser, and they ordered crayfish from Louisiana, of course, and they're doing the big deal. But their fee, because they're nonprofit, and I was president of the softball league there for a few years for the girls, it was nonprofit. So the fee for the permit to bring in live crayfish was $15. And we're going to charge mom and pop out here in the restaurants that might, not be barely making it or not making it at all, $500 so they can possess something that's an invasive species from Lake Tahoe. And all I'm asking for is just to reevaluate. We'll show a chain of custody from my end to the wholesale end to the retail end. And this is where I turn this over to Jim here.
First of all, like Fred mentioned, crayfish is coming not only from Louisiana or New Orleans or that area, it's also coming from the Sacramento Delta. It's being shipped out of state from California into this town, and they don't have to have a permit, or it might be against the law, but they don't know that as far as these casinos and these restaurants. So to ask them to possess and buy a permit for $500, casino, they're just not going to do it. They've never done it before, and they feel that they don't need to do it, especially if you can get it from California for nothing. And yes, maybe it's against the law, but to police it would be insane. Like he says, the mom and pops, you're just going to take the whole value of bringing Lake Tahoe to the community, Lake Tahoe crayfish, and by cutting them out completely, because they're not going to get a permit. $500 is quite a bit of money. Like he says, he can absorb it, I can absorb it. We can follow it through to who is going to possess it. But when it's already being brought in anyway, I mean, it's foolish. They're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it, and it's just going to kill the whole program. And we have a petition and that Kim Tisdale has for all the casinos. I've had every one of them sign it, from the Eldorados of the world to the Nugget to Peppermill. They've all signed it, and they think it's pretty crazy. And I do too. And yes, it is new to this area, but we've got to make it where people can afford it and be able to show a little bit of Lake Tahoe, Lake Tahoe quality of crayfish, and be able to pull in an invasive. And I think that's what we're trying to pull it and make this lake clean and clear. And if you don't have an outlet for it, then you don't have an outlet for it. Where is it going to go? So that's my thought. And right now, they're not going to do it. So,
Well, as it sits right now, I don't mean to interrupt, but as it sits right now, if permitted, I can sell it to Jim. And if he's permitted, he can keep it live on station at his warehouse. But to deliver it to the restaurants live, they have to be permitted. Now, we can deliver it deceased. They don't have to have a permit. But the whole draw to this is being able to take these crayfish from the dock to the truck to the casino with all the tourists watching this the whole time and having it on their plate within 3 or 4 hours, live. Just like lobster tanks that are in the casinos and some of these smaller butcher shops and stuff. That's the draw. This is what's going to draw these people in.
it kills the quality. It really does. Taking it and freezing. I'm sorry, Fred.
Go ahead.
But freezing it or killing the product before the restaurant or casinos uses it, it just kills the quality. So you don't want to do that. And it's not like the crayfish isn't being sent all over the place anyway. And it's just it's foolish. It really is. And you have to really take a look at it.
Okay, hold tight. Any commissioners have any questions with regard to this? I've got one. Charlie?
Obviously, this is something you didn't plan on when you came before us the first time. And this, whatever we do, has got to go to the legislature anyway, right? Got to go through that process?
I don't think it's legislation. I think it's regulation. And so we can, what they're asking for us to do is to accept a petition to amend the regulations to, change, it sounds like change the fee and certain other things. And so I think we can do that.
Okay.
Commissioner Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I asked about the fees before when this was passed, and I thought this was set by legislature. I thought that's how it came out. But anyways, regardless, the intention, well, obviously it wasn't set out correctly in law, as my understanding was, that Tahoe Lobster Company was $500 and that was it. It wasn't Fred Jackson and all of his employees $500. I don't think that was ever discussed by the board. It was Fred Jackson, Tahoe Lobster Company, and the other guys, everybody that has a company, they get charged $500. And I think that was at least my view of what the intent of the board was at that point in time. And if other commissioners had a different view at that point, please let me know. But I thought that's what I was passing. Thank you.
Okay, well, I guess just comment to that, but it sounds like the department is trying to maintain a chain of custody of live crayfish to make sure that they are accounted for and don't get out. They're evasive in Tahoe, but they're evasive anywhere they're put. So I think that's the purpose of having permitting. My question is are the fish coming in from Sacramento or from Louisiana, are those live?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Chairman.
Okay, I guess we need to hear from the department at this point and what you guys think about this. Chief Bonamici?
For the record, Rob Bonamici, Chief Game Warden. First of all, to do a fee change, structure in the fees, That's NRS 502.240. And any person with regards to residents upon the payment of a fee for a commercial license for the possession of live wildlife, $500. So we cannot, through regulation, create, for example, a $50 fee for these other entities. That would require legislative change. However, there is a provision in NRS that would allow the commission to exempt certain entities from that commercial fee. So it's kind of an all or nothing, or go to the legislature to obtain something in between. So that's the situation regarding fees.
Relative to the fact that Louisiana and Sacramento are sending live crawfish, are they currently in a violation of NRS?
What they do is they obtain an importation permit at this point in time, and then they are technically in violation of NRS if they're being held live by the restaurants or what have you.
A question then, can we craft a regulation that creates an exemption but still maintain some kind of control over the live, crayfish with respect to the restaurants?
Yeah, that is doable if that's the desire.
And I'd also like to comment, the governor's been very clear, too, that we need to make every attempt to lessen regulations and be more business-friendly and provide opportunities, and we're certainly willing and to go down that path. I mean, these kinds of things, as you get something new and you start to look more deeply into what you currently have, you don't recognize problems until you do that. And so I think working with Chief Bonamici, we can find a way to do it. The one thing we are concerned, we do have legislation about AIS, and that's a very important issue. If you remember Lobster Eddie, selling live lobsters in baggies, the last Australian red claw crayfish. Last thing we want is those crayfish ending up in our native waters and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So we'll need to work on that part of it to make sure that they're, that the kids say, oh, don't kill them all. Let's go let a few of them loose. So we'll have to deal with that, but I think we can get across the goal line here.
Yeah, and we're going to have to look at other issues out there, such as live fish, and make sure we aren't setting a precedent there to have live fish going everywhere and what have you. So
Okay.
It's doable, but it's
Yeah, and so we can broaden, if we accept the petition, we can broaden it to cover the live crayfish coming from other jurisdictions, as well as the issue with fish and whatnot. Okay. Any commissioners have any questions of Chief Bonamici with regard to this, or any other questions for the gentleman?
I had one.
Commissioner Rain?
Thank you. So the exemptions that I'm kind of trying to follow the train of thought would be is basically we could exempt employees of a licensed commercial person with a commercial license, and then possibly exempt restaurants that do not move their product and that are held at their facility for consumption on that facility. Is my following train of thought?
the way the statute's written, it is specific to a person. So, and we're not looking at the extreme letter of the law, where if you have a boat with 5 people on it that are harvesting crayfish, for example, that all 5 would need a commercial license, but somebody on the boat needs a commercial license, because when we come alongside and check,
Permit.
we need somebody that has a permit on board.
Okay.
Chief, on this question?
Sure.
Does this pertain to the wholesale and retail end too? Will there have to be somebody permitted either in the restaurant or the wholesaler to transport, possess, and sell? The
Yep.
same as a commercial fisherman?
Yeah, we will have to look at that issue and work that in somehow. We're not looking at having, everybody at the restaurant permit.
No, I understand that. Well, I guess what I'm saying, Chief, is let's say Jim's sons work for Miracle. let's say his son needs to transport 30 pounds to so-and-so restaurant in town. To transport that, Jim's not there. To transport that, would Brandon need a permit under the letter of the law?
Okay, let's, the scope of this agenda item is to determine whether we're going to approve a petition, and there's a lot of details I know that are going to have to be worked out, and so I think that the petitioners can work with the department to get all these nitty-gritty details worked out. But procedurally, what we're doing here with this agenda item is to make a determination of whether we want to move forward on a regulation project to address all of this, and so we're not here to solve all the nuances of the issue. We're here to say, hey, does it warrant some regulations? And it sounds like, based on the comments of the department and the governor wanting to make sure that businesses are allowed to operate, and that the Department of Wildlife and the Wildlife Commission should be happy that crayfish are being taken out of Lake Tahoe, an invasive species. It seems like everybody's on board, and so I think at this point, maybe the best thing, unless any commissioners have any other comments, I need a motion to basically make a determination on this petition. Oh, yes, you're right. Absolutely. Thank you. Commissioner Rain is always helpful in procedural matters. So with that, why don't I go ahead and open it up to public comment, and if anybody has any comment from the public, come on up.
Hi, my name's Jim Tollins.
Why don't you pull that microphone, that other one,
This one?
back over? There you go.
There we go. Hear me? Okay. My name's Jim Tollins. I'm from the State Line Zephyr Cove area, and I own and operate Tahoe Crawfish Company. A little friendly competition with Fred. But, yeah, I was just here to express the severity of this issue. If this is a problem, that we're dead in the water, just like Jim said. So, I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, born and raised, and you don't eat dead crawfish. You just don't do it. I've talked to lots of local restaurants, and they're very curious about this new trend. And the $500 fee for a small restaurant, that just turns them off. So we just need to get that. I just want to express support for the petition and Fred.
Okay.
All right?
Good.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Got another one? Come on up.
Yeah, I just have one question for these gentlemen. What's your exit strategy? My name's David Colley, by the way. If you remove all the crayfish, the existing crayfish from Tahoe, where does that leave you?
The exit strategy is just to manage the resource. It's going to be a tough bill to fill to actually exterminate 300 million crayfish. Once we hit that mode to where all the science behind it and all the studies are showing we're making a difference, we just keep moving along. Just keep managing this resource. Those crayfish, they produce by the hundreds. There's not too many things that'll predate them in that near shore zone except for the fish community that are in there, and as they die off. Sudeep Chandra, Dr. Chandra told me in Crystal Bay there's millions. So as we collect, it's going to take about 3 years. As we pull them out, millions are moving in. It's hard to fathom those numbers, but that's the exit strategy, is to manage, not exterminate, because we'll never exterminate. And with the area and zones that we have available to work, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough deal to even get them to a manageable level in the next 3 years. TRPA is stating that if they don't see production and quality issues of the water improve over 3 years, then they're going to turn into a commercial fishery and they're going to manage it that way. And then that's when things will change. I'm sure we'll be approaching you folks again to reevaluate the situation, what's going on.
Go ahead.
We got to step back and see what we're trying to do is clean out the invasive species. And like Fred says, they're probably producing as much as what he can pull out. And we're not only looking, if this goes well as far as commercial fishing in Lake Tahoe, there's other things up there that are invasive, like clams and some other, I don't know what else there is, mussels and things like that, but that we could possibly look at to help remove too. I mean, if you could take something to clear Lake Tahoe out and be able to have it bring it into a cuisine type of effect, it's a win-win situation. It really is. So that's my feeling.
Okay. Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to the commission. Any other comments with regard to the public comment? Seeing none, Commissioner Minkman?
Thank you. Just a couple of quick questions. It's kind of an interesting balancing act because when it comes to these invasive species, of course, we're going to take what we can get if you guys are able to remove. Okay, I mean, that is a win-win. So I'm supportive of and we talked about the blackfish and getting ourselves in some administrative fines, but it sounds like that's managed. Mark might want to comment on that, but it sounds like that's managed. But then that's an interesting question about the, what's your exit strategy, because there is potential conflict. You're trying to run a business, and at some point the department with this AIS could be in the mode of trying to get rid of every last one of them. And what does that do for your business? Does that put you in conflict with the Department of Wildlife in terms of filing lawsuits because it's damaging your business, things of that nature?
No. This whole thing has been a clarity issue since the beginning. I've been in contact with some other fishing, ODF, a bunch of other folks. This is not just based in Lake Tahoe. My business is going to move out and branch out into other things. Of course, I realize there's going to be someday it's going to come to an end, but there's other issues to be addressed up there. I've been asked to go look at other lakes with UNR to take a look at different situations they have. California's got their bill out now, 2405, SB 2405. They're jumping in the game. They're actually looking, I'm pretty sure with the discussions I've had, at this project, at how we're acting and how the laws are being passed and what we're doing to control out of control situation where you don't have 20,000 people up there ripping and tearing. I've talked to Marla Bay, OHA, the president. He was concerned about the Mackinac fish and how the traps were going to be set because there's some guidelines and depths we have to go to. But I told him during the winter we're going to be down deep. During the summer we're going to be up to our regulational depth standards. That's all I could say. I said they snagged lures and trolling gear on logs and rocks all the time. We're going to try and keep this out of the way. But we're not here for that. We can sit here and talk about this all day. There is an exit. I don't know when, because it's in the future, and I could see 3 to 4 years, an exit.
And if I could, Rob, with regards to the petition, it's referencing change to NAC. And unfortunately, I don't have it sitting in front of me. I just didn't bring a copy of it with me. But you were talking about NRS, and I want to make sure whatever action we take is pertinent to what's in the petition. Otherwise, we might have to back up and take a different approach. And I don't want to head down a path that we think is the right path and then determine as we go down that maybe we should have done something different.
Again, for the record, Rob Bonamici, Chief Game Warden. Just for a point of clarification, were you looking at NAC 503.140 and 504.4595?
Yes, Chief.
Those two?
And also, Chief, I was looking at 503.380. Can I read it to you?
Sure.
Okay. The department may take or permit the commercial taking of unprotected wildlife in any manner approved. The commission may fix a price for wildlife to be taken. Unprotected wildlife may be taken under this authorization and may be sold.
Maybe may fix a price, I guess. Okay, so this is the stuff I'd like to talk about because, we've got this, I want to clarify and make sure we're all on the same page because if there's statutory language, I want to know, where we're at.
Yeah, at just at first glance, reviewing the NACs and so forth, what it boils down to is we would have to create a new NAC to address this and not tack it on or amend something else because the other NACs have some nuances that are applicable to other situations. And for example, if we did unprotected and use that in this situation right here, then what that would do is our unprotected reptile, we have commercial collection of that. So maybe the next fad would be, lizards at restaurants are a delicacy, or what have you. And then we're putting ourselves in a bind there and applying a new use to a resource to the detriment of the resource potentially. So we would just want to be careful and make sure we thoroughly research it. But initially, it looks like we're just going to need to create a new NAC to address this specific instance, so it doesn't bleed over across the board into other realms.
So 503.140 is pertinent to,
That one is pertinent to, except as otherwise provided, subsection 4, blah, blah, blah. The following animals may be possessed, transported, imported, and exported without a permit or license issued by the department. It's not relevant to sale of wildlife. And that's what this would be to the restaurants, is a sale. So we'd have to cover that again in a separate NAC.
in 504, 4595.
And then 504-495, the title as possession and propagation of certain species of fish on private property, restrictions on disposition, documentation, on transportation, condition for taking of fish. So that is specific to fish and not crustaceans, so.
So if we're going to move forward, we need to be very specific about what we're approaching here, and it doesn't really include either of the two that are presented, although you did put an et cetera in there, I see that. So I think it leaves us open for the discussion to make sure that we're targeting what we're after here, so, okay.
Okay, any, Commissioner Rain?
I'm ready to make a motion. I think that might resolve this, if you're ready for that.
Okay, let's do it.
Move to approve the petition of Fred M. Jackson and taking advantage of the et cetera to change regulation as necessary.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Rain, a second by Commissioner Howell. Any comment from the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so you'll be working with the, with Chief and try to get these regulations, back to the commission so we can.
Alrighty, thank you, Chairman.
Okay, you bet.